Hey guys, so time for another judging of our painting competition. This month it was a diorama and a duel, I think it was it not?
We were looking for jewels and we were looking for blood.
Jewels and blood, that's exactly the one we're going for. First of all though, if you want to get some more models, I do this sort of every video now, but you know what to do by now. Composite Games, in the description below, they get 20% off all of your models and an extra 5% if you use the code Northern Exile. Go over there if you want to get involved in the painting competition. You don't want to spend too much money. Right, that was quick. Let's get that out of the way because we've got loads to go through today. First of all, let's have a look at our first image, and it will be, if I can remember correctly, let me just get my hat on here.
It's the one at the bottom by Buffalo Bill.
Yeah, I think I'm going to do yeah, because I've got them all here. I want to see which one I want to do first, rather than.
Sounds good.
Let me go with. Yeah, we'll go with our 8K entry because it might make everything crash. So no, it didn't. Brilliant. So.
Wonderful.
Do you want to explain a little bit about this one whilst I get it up and running on the screen?
All right. If I'm correct, you said it was Commander Farsight.
It is Commander Farsight's first one. Yeah.
Sadly, I do not know Tau very well. It appears that they have constructed a beautiful green stuff cape onto Commander Farsight, who's standing on top of a log and pile of rocks on some kind of foresty world with moss, trees, etc. It has been painted in a red color scheme, with the cloak a nice cold white, as if he was standing under the moon. His shield is painted with a symbol I don't recognize. However, I do think that it does pull together quite well.
Okay, so I'm just like zooming over it a little bit of a time because it's an 8K image and it's not meant to fit in all in one piece. I don't want you to lose any of the details. So yeah, I think free-handed stuff I'm always really impressed with, and this does look like a free-hand attempt on the shield, which I really like. Some of the bits on the shield that are painted on to look like scuff marks. You probably do better if you actually nick the shield a little bit, if this is a Farsight guy who's like kicking out in close combat. I do love Farsight. I do think in the lore he's a bit of an attempt by Games Workshop to say, hey, they don't suck in combat, look, you know, there's this one guy who does a bit, and he's kind of okay.
Cool sword?
Yeah, he's got a sword, you know, he's kind of samurai, you know, it's all good. But I think, as a whole model, this thing really works. And one thing I really like about it most, number one, the cape. Love it. Absolutely love it. And I love it when people attempt to do stuff like this. It really does look like he's jumping up onto that rock and like about to leap off in the wind and things. But one thing I like is this is a gaming piece. It's not a display piece. And I really like that because you don't often get, in dioramas, you get like, it's just a diorama and you can never use it. What I love about this, and a few of the other entries as well, is I know if I was doing a Farsight Enclave army, I could pick this out and just use it and just put it on and it'll be all cool. But this is fantastic stuff and shows some of the really cool quality miniatures that Games Workshop are able to bring out as well. Because there aren't that many companies out there that can give you models that can be this sturdy on a base like this. I know, for instance, because I've got models just like this that are on cork bases and things, it's almost like GW go out of their way to make sure that you've got models that can be posed in this sort of a way. So top stuff. I really like it. Should we do the grading now for the model, or do you want to do it a bit later on?
Well, if you would like to say your ratings, I have a few comments to say as well.
Sure.
As mine.
So our ratings go on 5 things, and it's all 1 to 5 points or 0 to 5 points. I doubt we'll ever give somebody a 0 because we're not that kind of a people. But
that would be mean.
Yeah, so we have proximity to theme, which is basically, you know, how close did you stick to the remit, which is cool. We have originality, which I think a lot of these, by general consensus, will get a really good points for, because that's what we were asking for. Painting skill, okay, that's the big one, where we could see points fluctuating up and down. We have blood and gore, that was just this week's, though, because that might change for next time. So we have, you know, how gory and bloody is it, you know, guts, spatters, splashes, and get extra points. And we have photo quality, which I think this one will get a lot of points on. So, I guess I'll go first, because you got things to say. Actually, no, go on. You give me what you think about the model so far.
All right. Well, you've already pointed out a majority of what really makes this model quite amazing. However, something I'd really like to put to the light, really, is the base. They've not really taken any photos of the base. However, if you look just at the bottom of these photos, you'll see he put a lot of, they put a lot of effort into that base. And what I especially love is the moss, as well as the rock they're standing on.
Yeah.
And that moss, as somebody who's trudged in forests for his entire life, looks almost real. I could not tell the difference if you showed that to me in actual moss.
I do like that, yeah. Cool.
Yeah, that is really, really well made. A few negative points. This may just be me being a bit picky, but it's personal opinion. The cape, well made, is a tad bit thick.
Yeah.
If you look at the edges of the cape, you'll see that that's quite a bit thick for somebody who would be wearing let's say this is wool. You don't expect a wool cloth to be that thick, and so it does take away a bit. But I think it's more of a nitpick than anything.
I think it looks a lot better on the inside than it does on the outside. I think if you're looking at the model from the front, that it's all sweeping across his right arm there, I think it looks a lot better. I also want to know, is that the sword Farsight comes with?
I don't believe so. I just saw Farsight the other week as well when I was playing against him, and I'm pretty sure that's been kit bashed in some way.
Well, congrats on doing the kit bash. It looks great. It looks like it does look a bit like a kitchen knife, which is really funny. If that is a kitchen knife that you stuck on there, please let me know, because I'd find that hilarious. So, in terms of the actual points, I think proximity to theme. Not really a diorama. This is more of a general. Shall we say, model. I love it as a gaming piece, but I don't think it's a diorama, so I'm going to give 3 for that one out of 5.
Do remember, it's meant to be a combat diorama.
Yes, it is. Yes. So the more closely we can get to like a duel or somebody running into combat, this is a gaming piece, and what I mean by that is that he's clearly standing there looking over the battlefield. This is a general for your army, and a really good looking one at that. If I saw that on the tabletop, I'd be like, I've got to kill it. It's just amazing. I really want to kill that. Which is the highest compliment I can give you as an opponent, to be honest with you. So originality, I'm going to go with a 3 again, mainly because, this is clearly a Tau HQ. There are bits added onto him that are really cool. A really nice kit-bashed sword and cape and things, so that's pretty cool. Again, I know this may seem harsh, but I would also put most of my models on a 3 for originality, because at the end of the day, it's a Space Marine, and you can tell I put effort into it, but like I've not created an entirely new model from scratch. You know what I mean? And it's not like a huge diorama. None of the things that I've done. So 3 for originality, which is middling. Again, just like Angry Joe, like a 5 out of 10 is not a bad score, and 3 out of 5 is not a bad score. It's just average. That's what you've done. Painting skill, I'm going to give that a 4. Because I genuinely, when I look further into the painting, okay, it's a bit lackluster on the shield, could use a bit more depth in some of the tones, things like that. But as an entire ensemble, I think it works really well, and I love the fact that you try to do glow marks, which is not something that a lot of people do, especially people who are you're around the same painting level I am, and I would never attempt to do glow marks. Just wouldn't. It wouldn't occur to me. So really well done for that. So you got an extra point just for that. And blood and gore. This is the one where we're going to be seeing a few points drop. We do have a little bit of blood on the base, but this is going to be a 2 because there's not enough. I want to see blood flying all over the place if I can. Really, really, really nasty shit. I can also understand if this is the centerpiece of your army, you don't just daub it in blood for the blood god and call it a day. So, I'm not about to, ridicule you for that. And photo quality, well, that's got to be a 5, because you really put in a load of effort into making sure that we got to see every single nook and cranny of the model. And on that note, I'm going to upgrade you on... what should we grade you on? I think I'm going to upgrade you on originality to 4, because the photo's so good, and it's the best photo we have tonight of an 8K, I think the reason why we're being so harsh in certain parts is because we can see everything on the model. So you were very honest, and you're very upfront, and I really enjoyed it. What about you, Oasis? How do you feel?
I personally follow you in most of your gradings. For proximity to theme, I do agree it's also a 3. For originality, also a 3. However, on painting skill, I'm going to be a bit harsher and put mine at a 3 instead of a 4. While I do like the glow marks, I'm a person who prefers more clean miniatures, and even if I do follow the 6-foot rule, there are some bits that I feel like paint got on there where there shouldn't be.
Do you want to explain what the six feet rule is to people who don't quite know what that is?
Certainly. So,
Like me.
as you know, if you're playing, if you're playing Warhammer at the table with someone, and you put a miniature on the board, very likely, depending on the size of the game, you are from 3 to 6 feet away from the miniature. And so, whenever you wish to paint a miniature to look good, you typically imagine that your opponent will be looking at your miniature from 3 to 6 feet away. So, a general, full, if you look at the miniature in its entirety from a distance away, if it looks good, great. If you want to look closer for more details, also good. It's up to personal preference.
So it's another word for tabletop standard, basically. When you...
Essentially, yes.
All right. So that is entry number 1, and if they're all as good as that.
I haven't finished my points.
Oh, you've not finished your points? I'll go for it.
For Blood and Gore, I'll be giving it a 2 as well. There is some blood on the base. However, it didn't really follow what we intended for Blood and Gore. And then for photo quality, also a 5. So North, you gave it 18 out of 25. And if I remember correctly, I gave it a 17 out of 25.
Okay, so I did 18 and you did 17.
So for a total of 35 out of 50.
Not bad. Good start. All right, let's jump on to our next one. So which one should I pick this time? This is the best bit of the video for me, is where I get to like decide where we're gonna what we're gonna look at next. I'm gonna go for Brother's Loss next.
Alrighty.
I really liked this one, so I wanted to just showcase it a little bit. I will say this now. I love marine dioramas that show, duels between marines. Do you know the lore behind this story?
I do indeed.
Okay, then can you explain it then? Because either I'm missing something or...
There's a small description that's included at the top of the submission. Quote, "My diorama is a scene from a civil war. My custom chapter, the Crimson Knights, suffered after the Great Rift split the galaxy in half. These two battle brothers were close friends throughout their service to the chapter. After the rift occurred, the Knights suffered heavy losses to Chaos forces, now invading and destroying the sector of space the chapter was created to protect. These once close friends, now hated enemies, want nothing but death for each other's ideals, something the Chaos forces would take great advantage of and corrupt."
Okay, so I love your color scheme. And what's it called? The Crimson Knights?
Aye.
Okay. I really like the color scheme. I really like the faction symbol on the left shoulder pad. I'd like to know where you got that from, because I'm currently freehanding mine, and it looks okay. But like, these look absolutely fantastic. Just looking at the model before I look at the base. I love the fact that you've attempted black. It's such a difficult thing to do. And that you've dry brushed it, obviously, to take up all of the highlights, which is really, really good. And used Nuln Oil to bake down the rest of it. So really cool stuff. The red also, edged highlighted. Brilliant stuff. Everybody is in poses that are, I would say, natural. So we have the guy on the left coming forward and the guy on the right saying, come at me, bro, sort of a stance. I really like that.
I have the high ground.
Yeah, I have the high ground, and indeed he does have the high ground, which is really great. When I first saw this, I thought that Archway's going to fall on him, and it'd be the most anticlimactic, duel ever, where he's just charging towards him and things falls on him. But I love the skull on the ground. I love the way that you've done the groundwork here. I don't think there is any GW set that has this in it. So either you've done this from scratch or you've got it from somewhere else. Either way, phenomenal work. It actually looks just like stone. It's leaping out of the frame to me. I think all your details are really, really, really good. And I think this is a really well painted miniature. And your background lore, I would love to read more on it. If you guys are listening for the most part, or you're doing some other painting, if you've got your own armies that you would like me to read the lore to, I'd love to do that. You know, as long as you let me monetize the video, I'd love to do it. You know. So yeah, if you want me to, send them in and I'll read them over. I'd really like to hear more about these guys because I love that color scheme. Is the guy standing at the top? Because he has different colored shoulder pads. So which of these outranks the other? That's what I would want to know. And I want to delve in more to, are these actual brothers or are they just battle brothers? Because they look very similar too, which would be pretty cool. Because you don't see that enough. I don't think you see siblings enough in 40k. Like the Astral Blades are all uncles and fathers and sons, and because I thought that'd be quite unique, and I'd be really cool if you've done that as well. But I love the colour scheme. I think this will be an exercise in, I'm not sure how harsh Oasis is going to be on it, but for me, this will be an exercise in points being knocked off, not for painting quality, but for sticking to the remit, if there's ever going to be any sort of... but I think this is going to score quite highly. What do you think?
I agree. It'll score quite highly in some places and may score less in other places. For example, there isn't any blood and gore, which means sadly, as a default, we have to grade it at least a 1 or 0.
Yeah, be a 1
depending
for
on how
blood and
nice.
gore,
Yeah, depending on how nice we want to be. In my personal experience, if you look at the steps, you'll see a lot of gravel and skulls and little bits strewn about. And I personally am very afraid to do that in my miniatures, because I'm afraid that it'll jostle about and
snap off.
The base will break after a bit. The gravel will fall off or whatever. And so I really quite like how they've done the base, and especially on the archway, you can see that some of the bricks, their natural limestone coloring on the outside has been broken away to show the true color of the brick on the inside. And that wear on those bricks, I absolutely adore. In that situation, however, if you look at the broken off bit of the archway, you'll see that there's no actual bricks there. It appears that it's just a solid stone rock that appears to have bricks. Which I don't
that
know
could
if
be
that's...
infill. As somebody who's done bricklaying, that could be. You do fill in the cavity in arches and things. That could be that. You just fill it in with cement and stuff. Yeah.
On the topic of the miniatures, I really, really love the plasma pistol that they made. That gradient from that dark blue all the way to the light blue makes it really look like it's glowing. And I would be quite excited to see this in some kind of Astartes animation of having these two actually fight.
Yeah, again, that's why I asked to know more about it. If I saw this at Warhammer World, it isn't the highest compliment I can pay, really. I wouldn't look out of place. I'd just walk straight past it.
Agreed.
You know, I would think, oh, another marine diorama, next. You know, and I know that's not, like, it doesn't sound like that's a compliment, but it really is. It just wouldn't look out of place at all. So really well done, and I think I'm ready to do some grading. So we are going with proximity to theme. I'm going to give you a 4 there because it is a duel. I can't give you a 3 because our last entry was a 3 because it didn't stick to the remit that much at all. So this one is going to get a 4 because you do have a duel. There is no blood and gore, but we will get to that one later. But you did stick to the theme. It's a combat diorama. So you're getting a 4. It's fantastic stuff. But you're not getting a 5 because obviously there is no blood and gore and things like that. So originality, yeah, I would also say this is a 4. But simply for the lore, the fact that you've gone into detail and you've gone and told us exactly what the hell's going on here, I really like that. I think it's really, really cool. So you're getting a 4. It would have been a 3 because, you know, marine diorama, 2 brothers fighting. You know, I've seen loads of those. I've done some of those, and but this is goes above and beyond with the lore and stuff, which I really love. Painting skill, that is a 4 for me. I love the edge highlighting work. I love the posing. I'm gonna factor in your kit bashing skills there as well. So the glow that Oasis pointed out on the plasma pistol, is really, really good. And the actual model itself, apart from the miniatures, is painted to an amazingly high standard. So that is a 4 from me. Blood and gore, that will be a 1, and that's the only thing that really lets you down. Is there's no blood and gore, and I wanted to count the skull, but I just can't bring myself to do it, just for integrity of the competition. But aside from that, really, 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 really cool stuff, and I really like it. And so photo quality, again, this is going to get a 5 from me. No, a 4 actually, because we did an 8K for 5. So this isn't an 8K picture, but it is really well framed, like all of them are. And there are more than this, by the way. I'm just showing because for the sake of space. But this is really cool, really nicely framed picture. I really, really like it, and I think the composition of it's been really good too. So there we are. That is a 4, a 4, a 4, a 1, and a 4 from me.
So for a total of 17.
That's the
wait, 4 fours for 16 and then a 1.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 17. In my case, I've graded it a tad bit more charitably because I just adore it. I personally put the proximity theme at a 5. This is probably the furthest you can get, other than, of course, swords actually clashing to a battle diorama.
I just realised we have an entire. I shouldn't take blood and gore off the first one, because we have an entire section for that. So that's getting a 5 too. So I gave it 18. There we go. Right, go on.
Alrighty. Proceeding for originality. As you said, I don't see siblings pretty much at all in Warhammer, especially not Warhammer 40k.
Yeah.
So I'm giving it a 4, almost 5. I just, as he said, as North said, I feel like this is something I would see from other creators or maybe at Warhammer World. So, for painting skill, immediately the first 3 points are immediately filled out by the base. The miniatures themselves, with that shading and the beautiful light on the pistol, I'm giving it a 5.
Okay.
I don't see any issues. I couldn't find a better word.
No, I don't think I saw any issues either, but I think it's more like you can have a perfectly good model without having any issues, But then because there are no issues here, but it's more like I've seen better. Well, I don't want to sound harsh because it's a really amazing model, but I've seen better painted models. You know what I mean? And,
that is reasonable. Yeah. And also that top of that archway is just painted black. How dare you? So, okay, you know what? Fine, you've convinced me. I'll drop it to a 4.
Oh no, I'm the bad guy.
I was nice enough, however, to include that skull as gore because in some places skulls are taboo and they are considered gore. So there you go. And then for photo quality, I'll give it a 3.
Okay. So what did you overall give it?
Overall, it's 54413 or 17. And so this is a total.
Another 35.
Well, you said it was 18, correct?
Oh, mine was 18.
Yes, it is 35 again.
Oh shit. Well, guys, if you are both tying at the end, we will do a ladder match somewhere in.
Oh yeah.
In our composite games, and we will hang the prize above the ring, and you can do your own thing. You can see who wins. The best man win. Anyway, I'm gonna go to my personal favorite of the night, even though it's. I'm gonna say it's probably not gonna win, but like it's my personal favorite as an ancient historian. It's my personal favorite. So this is like one of the most original ones we're gonna get tonight, I think. And this is where it's gonna score its points. This is a fantastic model for me. And I think you know which one I'm talking about, the Gladiator. The Gladiator, for those about to die model. I think it's wonderful. I love the fact that you've put the Roman numerals in the background. I almost want to scream teacher's pet, because I think this is like an arrow aimed directly at my heart going, give me points, motherfucker.
History teacher.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. But I love it. I absolutely love it. Again, it's just a wonderfully innocent piece of a diorama that perfectly encapsulates what's going on in the movie and how people look. And what I will give this credit for is the sheer effort and will that's gone into making this, Could the painting be a bit better? Yes. Could you have watered down your paints? Yes. But I just think for someone who's going into, has a vision in their mind and then did it as clearly as this, I just love it. I love the innocence of it, and I love the fact that you did it. Like the Roman numerals in the background sort of do it for me. I don't know why. I I love the fact that you went all out for it. I love this, and I'm gonna be honest with you now. Probably not gonna win because there are. I think you'll say even yourself, like when you see what's to come as well. There are better painted models tonight, but this is my personal favourite. So you win the Teacher's Pet Award for doing a historical diorama. So yeah, you're the people's champion, put it that way. So that's all I'm going to say about it. Do you have anything to say? or are you horrified by my lack of objective, by my lack of professionalism?
I am going to just step off the stage very quietly and give my points later.
Okay. No, you can give your points now. I'll just.
I'm afraid if I say anything negative, I'll have my role stripped of me.
No. You go. It's fine.
I'm gonna be honest. I haven't watched the movie in a really long time.
Well, yeah. I mean, neither have I. But it's all good.
I am also a sucker for the parchment background.
Yes.
And I'm also a sucker for the lighting. Because that lighting genuinely, if I remember correctly, this is a scene that happens in open air.
Right at the end in open air, yeah.
Yeah. That lighting definitely looks like an open air lighting. It's nice and warm. That parchment gives it that sort of limestone color you'd get. And so I think that definitely I'm going to give it high points for the photo quality as well as for the just the proximity to theme.
Yeah.
However, I'm afraid it may lose a bit on, of course, the blood and gore, because there's a lack of blood and gore. And
there is on Maximus's legs, because he does get stabbed, but it's not. So if you know, yeah. So I was wondering if you'd pick up on that. So like,
before, at the very bottom there, yeah.
Yeah. So before the fight happens, he gets stabbed in the back, and then they put his armor on top of it, so he starts bleeding underneath the armor. So you can see at the back of the leg there, you can actually see where it goes red on the skirt as well. It goes red. So yeah, there is a bit. I see what you mean.
My apologies.
Yeah, this is me going to town for this model. It's like, this is what dying on a hill sounds like, ladies and gentlemen.
North, you got to remember though, there's a concept called originality, and if you follow the dictionary definition of originality, this is technically not original, seeing as it was taken from a movie. I'm sorry, North.
Yeah, but
My
channel, go fuck yourself. It's gonna. I'm kidding. So right, let's do some grading before we go into. So for me, proximity to theme, it's got to get a 5 because it does exactly what we asked. And this is the thing, guys. If we ask for proximity to theme now in every single one of these videos that we do, so these are easy points that you're throwing away if you don't follow it. Like if you follow the remit, it's an instant 5 points, like straight away. So 5 points for following the theme. Originality. I didn't think of the movie thing. I was thinking like, oh my god, no one's going to do something like this, so it's dead original. But you are quite right. You're doing something from a movie. So I'm going to give it a 4 for originality. I would love to give it more, but yeah, you've copied it from a film. That's pretty cool. But I really do like the fact that it's not a Warhammer based. They're taking all the history out of it. It's not a Warhammer based diorama, so it's really brave of you to try. Painting skill is going to be a 2 from me. The paint is very thick. It's been liberally put on. It's a fantastic effort. I love the shading of the skin. They don't really look much like the actors, which I'm not expecting from this kind of a diorama. And also the fingers look a bit clumped together. They look like Elder Scrolls Oblivion NPCs, essentially.
Yeah.
But again, cannot fault you because I know exactly what I'm looking at. This is the kind of thing. If Bardic Broadcast was judging this would win. Because I can, if I smudge my eyes together, I can clearly see what it is. I know exactly what you've gone for, and that's fantastic. Blood and Gore is getting a 3, because whilst there is some blood and gore, there's not a lot of it. I get what you're doing, and I think choosing this as your remit, you can't put any blood and gore in it, really, because there wasn't any until the end, and even then there's only a little bit. So you have found a very clever way of getting around it and showing us some blood and gore, which is why you're getting a 3. And photo quality, Yeah, I'll give this a. I'm gonna give this a 5, because I know I'm gonna get trounced for this, but I love the fact that it's not just the diorama that you've put effort into. This isn't an 8K photograph, far from it, but the fact that you've gone to the point of making a background for it and putting it on a pedestal and making sure that, you know, everything's in the theme and even the date is in Roman numerals, that's getting a 5 from me, because you've not just put effort into the diorama itself, but also the actual composition of the picture, which is what we're looking for me. That's getting a 5. There you go.
A wild north nerding out in his natural habitat.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry.
All right. From my side of things, I agree on north for the 5 for proximity to the theme. However, I do need to pull out that technicality and be the devil's advocate on the originality, and I'll put it at a 2.
Okay.
On the case of painting skill, you were correct. It was a bit thick. However, with paint so thick, and I believe these are resin printed miniatures, they are painted quite well, so I'll give them a 3. I especially love the blood, how it's not a perfect red when it's thinly dripping over the skin. You can see it's kind of a magenta-ish. In the case of blood and gore, I'll give it a 2. Perhaps there could have been some on the floor, or it was just not very noticeable for me. You have to point it out to me. And then for photo quality, I also adore it. I'll give it a 5.
Okay. So what is your overall? Because mine's 19, which is the highest so far. So I'm going to be accused of all sorts of bias here.
My overall is 17.
Okay.
So
it's still in the lead.
Together.
37. So it's still in the lead, but right. I'm almost hoping. Don't take this the wrong way, but I'm almost hoping this doesn't win, just so no one can accuse me of like, oh my god, we'll just do a fucking Roman one. He's going to pick that one every single time. So
you did say you don't think it'll win. What happens if it wins?
I know. This is my luck. It's gonna win. So let's do the knight next, because this is another one that I really liked, and then we'll do Malefics after that. So right, here we are. And now this is this made me feel pretty Christmassy. I'm not gonna lie. I felt like, oh yeah, I really wish it was winter now. Because
there is some lore attached.
Okay, I did see that because we're just recording it now. I just did the pictures and got on with it. So, what is the lore? Tell us some more.
Alrighty then. I'll hopefully try to do this one in character a bit. Open fire is heard across the dense winter forest. The Renegade Guard and questionably heretic omegers have been fighting for an extended period of time. It is unknown whether this brigade fell to chaos and with no tech priests to keep the machine spirits appeased as well as it maintained, it is unlikely that they will stay in the Emperor's holy light for long. But as for the question of what the god is fighting, that is a mystery best left for the Inquisitors.
Okay, so this is an open-ended piece of lore. I like it. Okay. Alright, so there is a close-up of the guys down there, but I think these two points of view do the model most justice. I really like the metalwork here. I think if you could come to my house and paint all of my metal pieces for me, that would be great, and that would get you some more points. The tree in the background, now, I don't know what the word is for it, because a tree that looks like that is either a bonsai tree or an oak tree. So I'm not sure. I mean, again, this is a different planet, so it could be any sort of tree anywhere. But it looks a bit strange to me. But anyway, I love the snow work. I love the way this actually looks like a cold model. I think this looks really beautiful. I like the composition, like that everything's put together. This isn't, again, easy points thrown away. This isn't a dual diorama. So the easy points that we're throwing away. You obviously have so much skill as a painter and as a composite modeler that I really love this stuff, and you deserve a lot more than you're going to get, because again, as I said last time, you follow the remit, you get loads of points right up front, and then you're building on top of that sort of a thing. I love the model. I love the metalwork. I love the fact that you don't even know whether these are Renegade or not, and you've put that into your lore too, because they could be either, Brilliant. Love it. Going to be downgraded in certain aspects, but all the technical aspects, you're going to get a lot of points. What do you think?
I quite adore this model.
Okay.
I have hereby dubbed the species of tree a Northernus exilius.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, good.
It is a ferrous tree, grows on winter planets.
Okay.
In the case of the models themselves, I adore the armiger.
Yeah.
Armiger. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Mm-hmm.
I especially like the snow is not completely covering the ground, so it looks like a bit of a springtime, rather than a full winter setup.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I have to point out, which I hate to have to do, but I must, the mortar that's placed directly next to the las cannon. In order to fire a mortar, you have to place a round into the tube and it fires.
Mm-hmm.
And when it does fire, it releases a very large cloud of hot gas to the edges of the tube. Basically, it's backblast. And the person firing the las cannon would have a very bad time having a mortar firing directly next to them. And the mortar firer does not have a mortar assistant to actually put in those rounds, so you'd have to like crawl around the mortar every time he wishes to fire. So it is a tad bit cramped. And I don't know how those guardsmen would react to having an armiger standing right above them like that, just blasting Melta, but I hope their ears are alright.
Yeah.
That's just the general composition of the diorama. However, if I did see this on the table, if I was playing against a knight army, I would 100% just tell my opponent how much I love this.
Yes, and this is why I'm quite glad that we're being quite complimentary, because I've just done my scores. This isn't going to score that highly because of the remit that we put out there, but I would say this is one of the best models we've got tonight, which shows that it's not all about being a good painter. Sometimes it's about following the remit and seeing what we have. But yeah, if this was on the tabletop, I would be extremely pleased to play against it. And if this was in a display case, I wouldn't bat an eye. Again, if this was at Warhammer World, I wouldn't bat an eye. I'd be like, yeah, that looks cool. That's definitely Imperial Guard. That looks amazing. So, on to my ratings. So, proximity to theme for me was a 2. I think that's kind because it's not. It's just not a duel. And in fact, I'm going to give you a 3 because our first picture tonight was also a 3 when we did the similar thing. So yeah, it didn't really stick to the remit. And again, you're throwing away points by not having a duel on here and not having people in the combat diorama and going at each other. So originality, also a 3. Again, as I've said, if I saw this at Warhammer World, I wouldn't bat an eye. That is a huge compliment, but also does mean it's not that original, right? It doesn't jump out to me and say, "Oh, look at this! It's new. It's weird," So in terms of blood and painting skill, I put a 5. That's our first 5 for painting skill from me tonight. I love the metal work. I love everything about what you've done to this model in terms of the weathering and how wintry it looks and how Christmassy it immediately made me felt. I felt like I was in a winter wonderland. It was really nice. Blood and gore, that's a 2. Again, we're throwing away easy points because one of the remits was as much blood and gore as we can. It would have been very easy to have blood all over those blades on the chain blade on the actual armature, or even on the floor or anywhere. That would have been quite easy enough to do, but there's no blood on there. And for me, the photo quality is a 4, because, well, it's a good photo. That's another easy point. Good photos, good that we can see everything that's going on. We can give a nice easy 4 out of 5. But yeah, the reason why you've fallen down, you actually have 17, which is my worst score tonight, is simply because the remit wasn't really followed that closely. It's not that original. And we have no blood and gore. That's literally it. But on the technical pieces, like the painting skill and the photo quality, you scored a 5 and a 4 out of 5, which is a big compliment from me. So well done to you.
Alrighty. So on my side of things, I scored quite similarly. However, there were a few things that I noticed that I changed the points a tiny bit. The proximity to the theme, I also gave it a 3. It does more than the Farsight miniature.
Yeah. That's why
these ones that you can see they're yelling and pointing. They do seem like they're actually engaging something.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's enough to give it a 4, really.
We'd like to see what they're engaging. That would have been would have made this model like easy one of the winners tonight. I think if we could see that.
If you'd added a few Tyranids full of bullet holes, I would have been quite happy.
Oh yeah. Even if they're dead, it still counts as a combat diorama. If there's dead enemies, but if they're all one side. If you could have even said, look, these guys don't realize this is a stealth armor and it snuck up on them from behind. I don't know how it's done that, but that would be really funny. But yeah. So what did you go with your actual? Is that your final?
So yeah. For proximity to theme, I did give it a 3.
Okay.
In relation to originality, I gave it a 4. It is not very often that you see armigers or armigers, I'll say, having anything other than a few rocks on their bases. And this is actually because I was looking into buying armigers the other day because I was interested in starting a knight army. However, knights always seem to have like a heavy weapon or team or two at their base, and then titans especially, you can see even like Lehman Russes on their bases. But in this case, you've given the armiger a bit more character, and if you're intending on using this in a game, then it definitely looks quite nice.
That's gorgeous. Like it's a gorgeous model, definitely.
For painting skill, the metals definitely bumped it up to a 4 for me. What I would recommend to bump it up to a 5 in future is I noticed that Melta and as well as the exhaust pipes don't have the tempered hot metal effect that you typically see on Melta barrels.
Yes, the purpley. Yeah,
Yeah. Like when you see when you have an oil spill, that kind of that definitely would have looked very nice. And the base, there is some grass on there. It looks a tiny bit textured, but it does look like it deserves more love. Just the base plate itself that they're sitting on top of.
So
regarding?
Oh, sorry, go on.
Yeah, regarding blood and gore, I'll give it a 1 due to lack of blood and gore, and then a 4 for photos. I especially love the first photo, where it looks like as if the armiger just stepped over a hilltop and is staring into the sunset.
Yeah, I do like that.
Winter Wonderland, I love it.
So, what was your overall proceedings from
Overall was a 16, I believe.
16.
And for you was a 17?
17.
Yeah, so that would be a 30...
Yep.
33. Yeah, 33.
Go.
I can't think.
Alrighty. We can't have the ancient history one winning, so I'm starting to panic. We only have 2 entries left.
Oh, we had 1.
We had 5,
2,
right?
3. No, we have 3, 4 remaining.
4 remaining. Okay. Yeah. So, what am I missing? Because I have right now. Let me see. I have the 1 Space Marine diorama next, a Flamethrower. Oh no! Yep. You're right. We've got 3 left. Brilliant. Fantastic. So, we will go with the tracker next. Okay,
the tracker?
Yeah, so this is the snow.
Oh, it's a Cthulhu looking... Oh, no,
it's a snow with the wolves.
Found it.
Alrighty. So, let me just whack this one on here. Oh, it's upside down.
Some lore as well. Wonderful. I guess I'll start reading it off as you deal with the gravity.
I'm gonna just whack.
A tracker with her pet wolves ahead of her employer encounters a pillaged caravan. Its contents of gold sparkling in the snow between the red corpse buried next to the remains of a campfire. A boat also frozen, wrecked on the shore, tells a different story. The story is the half-giant warrior's trap. This time it won't be easy pickings, but if he kills the scout, the wizard will be able to be swiftly exalted. I can't read this. The wizard will be able to be swiftly executed before casting any spell. Okay. There's a giant, a half-giant, attacking a tracker. Yes.
Okay. So, now you know how I feel when I do Hobby Nightmares. So,
Yeah.
I really like the composition of this in terms of how cold it looks. I think the snow is probably one of the best things about the diorama. I know it's not finished yet, so there needs to be PVA glue and resin injected to where the boat is coming out of the water. So it's not quite finished yet, but I do love the... I will say this, right? if you think that anybody who doesn't have a top-end 3D printer is a match for Games Workshop in terms of model quality, take a look at things like this and make that argument again. Because the models, you have such skill at doing a diorama, but the models kind of let it down, because to me they look like D&D pieces, which of course they are, or I think they are. They're not Citadel standard, and I know that sounds really snobbish, that sounds horrible, but at the same time, I'm lamenting because you have such skill at putting a diorama together, because this looks like an absolute beast of a diorama in the making. I know it's not quite finished yet, but can you imagine putting in like snow footprints as well, so you can see where the wolves have gone and where everyone's been walking around and things? This would look brilliant. The one thing that I like most of all, it's going to sound really weird, is that trolley. Look at the way how cold that looks. If you've lived in a colder climate, you know what that feels like to put your hand over that, yeah, and feel flakes of snow coming off in your hand, right? I love this, and I honestly think that the models kind of let you down in terms, because your technical skill is way above the making of the models. Now, tell me that you've carved these, and I'm going to start crying because I don't want to be like that harsh. But like, I honestly think I love it. I really do. I think it's a lot of effort's gone into it. Please send me some more pictures, regardless of the competition, when this is finished, and then I'd like to see it. What do you think?
I quite like it. I think that as a construction of a diorama, it's probably among the best that we've seen here, especially relating to what I said about the armature earlier. I do definitely feel like it seems a bit more of a standoff, like a pre-combat diorama.
Yep.
As the wolves are slowly approaching the giant, growling. I can feel the tension in this diorama, but I don't see the combat. Regarding the bits around, it does feel a bit sparse, just having, of course, rule of 3, but it still feels a bit sparse, just having that boat and then the wagon and I believe that's a box of some kind. But it does feel a bit sparse and flat. But of course, this is unfinished, so I can't give my full opinion.
Yeah, precisely. So, that's great. Let me do my scores then. So, proximity to theme is a 4. I was going to give a 5, but listening to Oasis there, I think that's true, is that this isn't technically combat yet. But again, no, again, we could say that about the Space Marines before, though, and we gave that, what did we give that? Proximity to the theme, gave that a 5. So I'm going to give this a 5. I don't think I can't. I think it's got to be a 5, because the Space Marines that we saw before weren't in combat yet. They're about to be. You know, you could clearly see they were about to be. And I think you can clearly see these are about to be too. I think the woman on the right-hand side just isn't... The ranger tracker just isn't expecting a fight, and so they have a stick. Whereas obviously the guy, the wizard here, is about to just come charging forward to try and take her out. So I want to give a 5 for that. I think your proximity to theme, this is a combat diorama for me. So I'm going to give you a 5 there. Originality, a 4. I really, really like the background lore, and I like the way that it fits into what you're trying to go with. I think it all marries in quite nicely together, and I think this is an original scene, especially when it's finished, right? So I'm being quite kind there, but again, if you're original and you've got proximity to the theme, easy points to score, right? Painting skill is going to be a 3. You know, I honestly think the models let you down rather than anything else, but from what you've got to work with, it's like an actor with a shitty script, right? What you've got to work with, you've done an admirable job so far. So yeah, that is a 3 from me. Blood and gore is a 1. There is none. So again, easy points being thrown away. Just sprinkle some blood for the blood god on there somewhere. Doesn't matter where it is, and you'll get some score. And photo
even just some red ink.
Even just some red ink. And photo quality is a 3. Because again, we're not here to be snobbish about people's equipment. That's not what we're trying to do. It's more about composition and angle and things like that. And the best angle that we have for me is the one on the left-hand side. There is one over the shoulder as well, but it's quite blurry. But I really like the one on the left-hand side that's on the screen now, if you're watching the video. I think that's the best angle. So that is a 3 from me, which is a total of 9, 12, 13... A total of 14. No, 16, sorry. 16.
counting with North folks.
Yeah.
Alrighty, for my scoring, I did quite similarly. However, there are some things that definitely lowered the points for me, including the unfinished. I give it a 4 for the proximity to theme. I definitely agree with what you said about what we said about the Astartes above, but I still feel as if this is lacking and is less combat-y than the previous one.
Okay.
For originality, I gave it a 4. Definitely does seem like a sort of a D&D thing, having your party come up against one big enemy, and the whole usual. For painting skill, I gave it a 2, but that's mostly because the miniatures that are painted are out of focus, so I couldn't really give you much information regarding how I feel about whether they're well painted or not. I gave it a 1 for blood and gore due to lack of blood, and a 3 for photo quality, primarily because things were out of focus.
So where do we stand on your final?
14.
14. At least it's easy to add up this time. That's 30.
And yep, 30.
Alright, 30. Alright, 50. Oh my god, we have 2 left. And people are going to leave me in droves. Like, this guy's fucking joke. He keeps just throw Maximus on there and you get a fucking, yeah, so that's where we're going to be. So, let's go with male fics next. We have 3 left. Let's go with male fic. So,
Male fic.
This is the Thousand Sun.
Yep, found it.
Alright, guys, you were in for a treat because I saw this one before and it took my breath away for a minute.
It has lore.
And it has lore. First of all, right, now I'm going to be a teacher here for a second, right? Clean your bloody desk. I don't want to see... Because one of these days, I'm going to see something behind these models that I don't want to see, right? And
a poor Xbox 360 controller is covered in dust.
I know. Clean your desk. Get a duster or something. You know, just take some pride in yourself, son. Come on. Right. Okay. So, this is the first one. I will be putting on another one after this as well. We're giving you a close up. But please read the lore for me,
folks. This right here is sucking up to North so much. It is 1,000 sun murdering a space wolf.
Yeah.
A lone space wolf is on a patrol deep in the bowels of an imperial manufactorum.
Manufactorum. Yeah, I mean, when you end up like this guy, I can see why you would come to that conclusion, to be honest with you.
When he happens upon an intruder from a most hated enemy. The lone wolf charges down the psyker, but his enemy is too fast and too powerful for him. In that moment, the Space Marine feels the burning hatred of 10 millennia as his body is torn asunder from the inside and his entrails begin to wrap around, restricting his movement. In that moment, his last moment, he hears but a single word. Vengeance.
Right, okay, so here's the controversial thing. I'm going to get the things I don't like out the way first, to say why I'm taking away some points. So, what the guys are standing on is a piece of the Imperialis Sectorum set that I used to sell when I was at GW. And the way to paint this was to spray it in silver, douse it in as much non-oil as you can. I once had a guy who went and he literally bought really cheap model ink, filled up like a tub and just let it sit there, and then pulled it out, and just like, yep, that's done. And then dry brush it with any sort of like Necron compound or whatever, and then all of the wires, paint them red and yellow, and then douse them in a little bit more non-oil. Voila, you're done. And you can add stuff to it if you want, and it's very low effort, and it looks the business. It looks amazing. So that hasn't been done, so that's why, you know, there's not quite going to get as much points as people are probably expecting. However, the models themselves are immaculate. You know, the fact that you've gone to that much effort to paint the poor Space Wolf and then just tear him apart, you know, is a wonderful sight to behold. Let me just focus on the Thousand Suns for a minute. Each and every part of that model is astounding. That is showing extreme skill, with your grading and your dry brushing and the way that you've handled the metallics and the way that you've separated the colours. Absolutely fantastic stuff. You're such a talented painter, man. You know, maybe dust your desk a bit better, but your models are spot on. Absolutely amazing. Now, going to the Space Wolf. I mean, it takes a lot to make me feel sorry for a Space Wolf. I will say that. But I do. And this guy has had a really bad day at the Fang. Let me just say that much. This is going to be sideways, which is unfortunate, because that's just how it was sent to me. But, do you know in OBS how to switch switch it so that it's going... So I can switch it around? Full screen, show add, no.
Push around. Well, I don't show many images on my OBS usually.
Filters, properties, okay. So, no, there isn't one. But, to me, this guy has had a really shitty day, and in fact, the close-up doesn't do that much justice to it. But I love the tendril coming out of his eye socket, and the fact that he's just about to... He's literally exploding from the inside out. I think that this is probably the most talented thing I've seen on the channel. In a while. I get the fact that it's Space Wolf, so you just love it because of that. And, well, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, sue me. But, like, also, this is a start. I needed to get out the way while I was giving this a painting 5 out of 5, even though the base isn't done that right. Okay? If the base was done, I just would have no compunction. I'd be like, yeah, this is getting a 5 across the board. This is amazing. But it hits every single thing. So I'm going to have to go and do my scoring now because this is getting... So proximity to theme is a 5 out of 5. It is a combat. It didn't last very long, but it is a combat. You know, you have two people who have obviously been in the wars with each other. You followed the remit as combat diorama, spot on. Originality is a 4. Again, these are two Marines fighting each other, so you know we've seen that before. But I really do like the fact that you've gone and done it in such a nasty way to one Space Marine in particular. So that's getting a 4, where it would normally get a 3. Painting skills are 5. I want to take points off for the base, but I can't, because of the sheer quality of, number 1, 1000 Sun, and number 2, the quality of the Space Wolf, even as he's being torn apart. Every single part of him, it actually looks like he's bursting apart at the seams, which is such a difficult thing to do. How you got that to stay together, I don't know. Probably a lot of wire and patience. And what do we have next? Blood and Gore is getting a 5. I mean, how can I not? Look at that Space Wolf. I know, it's all over the place. That is one of the most gnarly deaths I think you will see in a model form, which is why I implore you to sort the base out. This is one of the gnarliest things I've ever seen in terms of having a character death in model form right in front of me. But you're still getting a 5 out of 5 for the sheer nastiness of it and the sheer amount of blood and gore. And a photo quality, this is getting a 3, and I think I'm being quite kind there, because, you know, clean your room. Just, you know, you can afford a massive monitor for your computer, but you can't, you know, clean your room. Get some Dettol. Get on there. Get on it. So, let's have a little look at what I end up getting. So, 15, 19, 20, 22. Oh, 21, sorry. 21. That's a lot. All right.
When they won.
Yeah. So.
Alrighty, folks. So, I have some possibly hot takes on this miniature right
Okay.
here. Proximity to theme, I'm gonna give it a 5. It's pretty sick. Honestly, I love the green stuff work. And when I think combat, I think what happens after combat. And God, do I feel bad for the apothecary that has to drag that body out of there. Oh, sorry, I dropped a random bit here. Yep, just dragging it. That's the long intestine. Whoops, sorry.
Yeah. Well, he only needs the gene seed, so as long as that's alright, I suppose he's fine.
True. In the case of originality, I was going to give it a 5. However, there's something that I need to address. If you're going to give us lore with your diorama, please make sure your lore is consistent and makes some sense. I don't understand why a lone Thousand Suns is going to be standing out there in the open without any kind of magic to conceal himself, and is just going to zap a Space Wolf in the most horrific way and not hide the body. And it's going to be... hiding the body is going to be the worst part, because there's going to be blood everywhere.
Wait, is he supposed to be hiding?
No, that's the thing. He's just... the Space Wolf just went into the Manufactorum. Oh, there's an Imperial... he's there.
Yeah. I mean, I guess... I mean, I got what he was trying to say, is that he's, like, chasing this lone, you know, Thousand Sun. It does seem to me like the Thousand Sun was walking away and then just turned around and went, and second thought, zap. Have some of that and then just left. But yeah, I'm with you. Like, okay, that sounds fair.
Mm-hmm. For painting skill, I've given it a 5.
Mm-hmm.
As you said, that Thousand Sun looks absolutely amazing. Mm-hmm. If an entire army was painted like that, and I'd go up against it with one of my armies, I'd just immediately pull out the white flag.
Mm-hmm.
These aren't miniatures. These are real Thousand Suns. Please don't kill me.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bit much, but I really quite like
it. No, I completely agree. Like that is a if that was a manufactured piece that's come out of a plastic, you know, like toy factory, so all of the details are there, it's really high quality, I wouldn't have batted an eye, but it's from hand all the way through it. Amazing stuff.
Yeah, to think that that's just paint on a grey plastic miniature is just wow. In the case of Blood and Gore, I've also given it a 5. I wish I could have given it more. Green stuff, beautiful, guts everywhere, adore it. For photo quality. How dare you do that Xbox controller dirty? I am extremely disappointed, you Malefic. We speak, like, almost on the daily, me and you. And you have to do one of my favorite hobbies like that. I'm giving you a 1. Fuck you.
No. Let's go. Let's go. I gave him a 3. I knocked some things off. Let's go.
Okay. The most you can make me consider is a 2.
Okay, 2. All right. I'll deal. So what did you end up on?
I ended up with 21.
21. So we still have a leader right now. That is 43. 43 out of 50 is going to be pretty hard to beat.
Yeah, pretty much.
Even with the gnarly base. So let's go with our... I think this is our last entry, is it not? Am I right?
I believe we may have one more on top of this.
Oh, we do. Yes, let's do Flamethrower Duck next.
Flamethrower Duck.
Yeah.
Yep, there we go.
Alright, this is... I love this, because you said that you were in school. So I love the fact that... you've obviously thought, well, I want to do diorama, but I don't have a base. And you've just walked past this construction site and gone, aha! Let me go get my models, and I put them here. Number 1, I really like the models. I think they're super well painted. I don't know how old you are, Flamethrower Duck. Do you have any idea, Oasis, how old Flamethrower Duck is?
No, I'm not aware.
Okay, so I don't know how old you are. You were in school though, so I'm guessing you're in your teens. For a teenager, this is excellent quality in terms of models and composition work with framing and the way that different colours go together, understanding how that works. You've actually done yourself dirty here by not giving us... You've given us a few traces of your models, but no real intense close-ups. So I can see Edge highlighting here, and it's making me very excited, but it's a shame I don't get to see more of it. I love the colour scheme.
I hate that we didn't get a close-up on the freehand on the shield.
Exactly, yeah. I love the colour scheme. Please send us more of this, so we can see what else this looks like, because these two models look absolutely superb. In terms of following the remit, now, metallics, by the way, always ink them. I know I say this a lot. Norn oil is your best friend. It's called liquid talent for a reason. There's no reason not to use it, or to use any sort of ink or shade to really bring out even the grip on his hammer there. You could really bring out really nice, nice depth to the model. So always remember that when you're going into these things too. But aside from that, beautiful looking model. I love his helmet. Tell me where you got that from. It's amazing. And the Tyranid too, very Cthulhu-esque. Not much you can say about Tyranids because they're just Tyranids. But I really like the blade sticking out of him. Reminds me of Dead Space. So really with you on that one. I love the shading on the actual blades that he's got coming off of him as well. So let's grade it for you. Let's have a little grade. So proximity to theme. I mean, you've cheated a little bit. You know what I mean? Like just by going and well, here's a building site. So I'm gonna give it a 3 because it is a combat diorama technically. But it's not actually a diorama because if I asked you to go and bring this round to my house, you couldn't because it's a load of rocks on the floor. But I still see what you've done. I see what you're going for, and I think that what gives it away is number one, we can see the building site in the background, and number two, the bases don't match what they're standing on. So that is a 3 from me for that one. Originality, I'm going with again a 3 because we have 2 models there facing each other, about to fight. There's not much lore. I don't think we got any lore for this. I think it was just the pictures, was it not? I don't think we got any lore for it.
There was a bit of lore, but I wasn't sure if you wanted me to read it out or not.
Yeah. Let me just have a little look. See here. It's devastating to me that shield isn't showing. So
agreed.
So we have. So, Flamethrower Duck says, unfortunately, school got a bit too hectic and I wasn't able to completely finish the base for the 2 models to sit in. Fair enough. But I still wanted to post what I'd done for fun. Lore. All the new waves are silent. Sorry, all the waves are silent on the rocky cliffs of Nihilum 5. Kaige Ikaro, Void Master of the Abyssal Drakes, scales the treacherous cliffside to reflect on the endless war his chapter wages in order to protect their ocean death world. Perhaps it is not worth saving. He laments as a deadly lictor slithers out from the infinite depths below. Really like it. I want to see that when it's finished. Guys, you've got to see this shield. It's amazing. So please, post more of these models. So I'm going to give you a 4 for originality, because you had some nice lore there. And yeah, I really liked it. Painting skill, for that shield alone, you can't see it properly on this picture. But please show us more of it. You're getting a 4, simply because, again, I think you'll freely admit it's not as good as some of the other paint jobs that we've seen tonight, i.e. the Thousand Sun that we just saw. But this is still top-notch stuff, and stuff I'd be proud to play against if it was across the table from me. It's really, really good. Blood and Gore. Again, easy points being thrown away by folks here, right? Easy points. There is none. There's no blood and gore, so we have to give it a 1, because we're giving everyone else a 1 when we come through it. And photo quality, I mean, I need to give it a 3. I want to give it lower, because, we don't have a base. But I think the photos that you have given us are very, 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 very good, for the composition and what you've been trying to do with it. So I'm going to give you a 3 on that one. What do you think, Oasis?
Alrighty, so from my side of things, I believe, originality speaking, sorry, not getting ahead of myself. The proximity to theme, I've given it a 2. It lacks a base, and it also lacks any kind of fighting. It doesn't even seem like the two are really looking at each other on that one picture on the rocks. Mm-hmm. So I'm not entirely sure if I should give it more or less. So I've just given it a solid 2. Mm-hmm. For originality, I've given it a 4. I definitely adore the paint scheme on the Lictor. I haven't seen any blue and reds like that on Tyranid armies that I've seen. And that custom chapter, I believe, for his Marine is brilliantly painted. Regarding painting skill, considering age and also the difficulty of painting Tyranids in general, I love what he's done with the carapace, as well as the red skin and bones on the Lictor. I would have loved to have seen some gradients on those black claws. They just seem like a solid black. And in the case of the The Marine, that freehanding is beautiful, so I have given it a 5. Regarding Blood and Gore, sadly I have to give it 1 due to lack of blood and gore, and I've given it a 3 for photo quality due to the fact that it's lacking a base, and also it's pretty obviously Lego. um, and the background is obviously very brick-y. So that's pretty much what I've given it for a total of 15.
15, so we have a nice easy one. 30. Sweet. Again, and again, so I want to see that when it's done, because it's going to look outstanding when it is. You know, it really is. So we are on our 8th and final entry now, which is pretty cool. So let me get some photos of it up.
That isn't a flamer, that's a bolt pistol with a muzzle flash.
Yes, that is. It indeed it is. Let me just get me.
Ooh, this one has tons of lore too.
Right, let me put it up before we start with the lore.
Sure thing.
Oh my god, it's gone sideways again. Is there any way that I can switch these around, because it looks when I look at it, yeah, it's not sideways. The actual picture itself is normal, and then OBS puts it in sideways. It's crazy.
It's like you're trying to fill the screen.
Right, let me just do it this way. Right, so surely I can switch this around. Surely. Like, why wouldn't I be able to do that?
Technical difficulties. Please return later.
I know, yeah. No, it's annoying because like I want it to. I don't want it to be sideways. Like, there's no reason why it should be sideways. It's just. I mean, okay. Transform.
Why not switch
Aha!
OBS
Got
to-
it. Got it.
Oh,
Got it. Got it. Got
wonderful.
it. Got it. Haha! I got you, son of a bitch.
Got him.
I got you, you son of a bitch. There you go. Sweet.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
We got him. Okay, so put that down there. That over here. I'm going to do another one. So feel free to read your lore if you would like to. And I'll sort out the rest.
Sadly, this isn't my lore, but it's definitely some good lore.
Okay.
Double kill at Istan. Well, it's a V, so I assume 5.
5, yeah. East Van 5, yeah.
Yeah. Potent drugs coursed through the elite swordsman's veins, slowing his perception of time, but heightening his reflexes to an excessive degree. Bored of culling the faceless warriors of the Iron Hands, he saw flesh exposed from around the corner of a rocky outcropping. The look of anguish upon his foe's face would be simply exquisite, and he knew he must make that kill. A white bolt pistol was leveled at his faceplate as he dashed through the debris and around the rocky outcropping. Though his own bolt pistol fired first, a shot to the pauldron would shift his opponent's aim, a shot to the chest to stagger him back, and lastly, a perfect cut through the center of the squad leader's head. Pain met the two of them equally. It was just before the son of Fulgrim killed the bare-headed warrior that he remembered his face, one he called brother many battles ago. The Iron Hand, conversely, felt the pain that he wouldn't see his killer blown to a smoldering heap by a primed melta charge. He dropped a heartbeat after the first shot taken at him.
Oh, I can see it as well. Sweet. Wow. This is outstanding. The one thing I wanted to point out is these are two very expensive models that have been put into a diorama. The Palatinine, the Bladesman on the right, I actually have that unit. It is not cheap. And the fact that he's gone to the effort of putting it in a diorama, huge props to you, my friend. And secondly, the use of the colour purple. I really like the Emperor's Children having this deeper, darker purple compared to other people as a really light, almost pinky purple. I think this is exactly how I imagine them looking, and I really love it. Painting-wise, phenomenal stuff. Absolutely brilliant. I love the edge highlighting. I love the worn-down look of the Iron Hands. I really, really, really like this model from top to bottom. There is some blood, and you're really pushing it because there's not much, but it is on the floor. I love the detail. So when Oasis there said about the charge on the floor, I looked for it and I was like, oh yeah, there it is. And I love little bits like that. Let me just put on the overhead as well, so people can see the overhead of the diorama. So this is the overhead of what we're seeing. yeah, lovely stuff. I think you've done an amazing job here of really pulling together the desperation of Eastvan 5. I love this, and again, even from the overhead, there is a chemical spillage behind the Emperor's Children that we didn't get to see because of the other angle. But I really like the way that you've done the rocks. I like the way that you've done the outcroppings, things like that. I like the actual bullet coming out of the chamber there of the Iron Hand's gun, his bolt pistol. There could be blood where that cut is coming down. I understand why I haven't done that, because it's like the millisecond before it connects. But I really, really, really like this. I think you've followed the remit. I think it's almost everything that I wanted from the competition going forward. So I'll ask what Oasis thinks first, and then I'll do my grading. So go ahead, and I will.
Alrighty, sounds good. So, in the case of this this diorama, it's among my favorites, likely my favorite. I just am very indecisive. I love all of these. I especially love the rocks in the background. I'm not entirely sure where they're meant to be, but the cuts into the rock kind of look as if they're in a quarry or in some kind of rocky area, and that definitely allows to put some blood splatters on the ground, but also rubble, barbed wire, the two casings on the ground, that chemical spill. It allows the diorama to become really alive if you're not just looking at the two miniatures. Regarding the miniatures themselves, I've never seen these personally. I believe they're Forge World models, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And I especially love the muzzle flash. I'm not sure if that's green stuffed or purchased or printed. However, it looks really nice and is very well painted at that small scale. You can see the round at the very end, and then that sort of explosion out of the end of the muzzle. What I really find funny is that dropped melt-a-bomb at the feet of the what is it, an Emperor's son?
Emperor's Children, yeah.
Emperor's Children, sorry. The dropped melt-a-bomb of the Emperor's the feet right there is I find quite funny. Regarding the entirety in itself, I think it's going to get really good points for, first of all, the camera angles, the shots. You can definitely see the entire diorama here. And I think it's going to get a lot for the proximity to theme, seeing as shots are being fired and the blade is quite literally being stabbed into his opponent.
Okay, so let me go on and do my scores, because I think we're on the last one. So proximity to theme is a 5. You stuck directly to it. It's exactly what we asked for. And you used quite expensive models to do it, so thank you very much. Originality, normally this would get a 3. But because of the melt-a-bomb, and all the little details are on this model, I'm going to give it a 4. So more than you would normally get for this, because I think no one's got an original 5 yet, no. Right, so painting skill. I'm going to give this a 5, because I'll be honest with you, the Emperor's Children models, I think that the detail on them is a little bit flimsy for me, but that's not your fault. I just don't like the flimsiness of the chest piece or the girding around the legs or the gold bits. I'm not a big fan of them at all. I think they could have been done a lot better by GW, but I think you've done an amazing job with what you've been given. And again, that's not your fault. I think the base is amazingly painted. I love the detail, even on the shell casings. They're a bit worn at the edges. Brilliant stuff. I love the Iron Hand, shouting in defiance as he's about to be chopped in two. Really, really, really like it. And yeah, fantastic stuff. Blood and Gore. This is getting a 3, and I think I'm being generous because there is blood on the floor, and we are about to see a lot of blood, but we don't get to see it in the miniature. But there is blood on the floor. I completely see where you're going with that. But you're not going to get a lot of points because there isn't a lot of it, to be honest with you. And photo quality, that would be a 4 from me as well. Again, the ones that we've given 5s tonight, we've had an 8K quality picture, and we have had somebody who put an insane amount of detail into the background of the picture itself. This is a standard diorama picture, and I like it. There are 3 standard diorama pictures. Really, really, really nicely done. Hence, you're getting a good score. So that's me. That is my grading for this final one.
Personally, for my grading, I've followed your idea of putting it as a 5 for proximity to example. This is pretty much exactly what I would have imagined when I was thinking about what would people submit when I was asking for a combat diorama.
Just as a proviso, um, I hope
Sorry?
you score above or below me because this is my second 22 tonight. So it didn't beat the other one in terms of sheer.
For me, it's a 20.
Okay, let's go into why that is. That's fine.
So yeah, it's a 5 for proximity to theme, a 4 for originality, a 5 for painting skill. The base certainly helped. It definitely looks like you just took a slice out of the battle, and I absolutely adore it. Regarding blood and gore, I've given it a 2. I wasn't as nice as you were. A few splatters is more than what most people did, but it's still not exactly blood and gore. And then I gave it a 4 for photo quality. There was some bits that we missed. For example, that chemical spill was kind of in the background. We didn't really get that angle. Yeah, otherwise, I'm very happy with this diorama.
So you gave it 20.
Yep, 20. And then you gave it a 22, correct?
Yes, that is a 42.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have an extremely close finale today. At the bottom, we have Bill and Flamethrower Duck with 30. We have the Armiger for 32. We have the Tau Miniature we saw at the beginning with 35. Brothers Loss at 35. Only About at 37. The Thousand Suns, however, is at 43, when this one is 42.
Wow.
So congratulations to Malefic for winning this month's, or technically 2 months, painting competition.
All right, congratulations to everybody who got involved. I'm keeping a record of names of people who have won things because as I managed to get more money in from my composite stuff, I'll be trying to get some prizes, which would be pretty cool. But I'd like to, if you've won one of these, I don't just want to give you, here's a pot of paint. You know, I want you to actually tell me what your ideal thing within a certain price bracket would be. So leave that with me, and I'll I'll do some research, see what I can come up with, and I'll come back to you guys. So Malefic's won this one. I've already made a note of who won the last one, and hopefully we'll be a lot sooner this time around, because we're going to come up with a new competition where you'll be able to send us some stuff. But remember, following the remit, you get half your points up front. Let's be honest, right? It's that close. That was the difference this time, was the remit. Somebody followed the remit, and someone kind of followed it, but it's the blood. The blood was the kicker, right? If this had blood on the floor, like it was, and it was coming off of the Iron Hand, or it was all over the floor or something, this would have won. I have absolutely no compunction, about saying that. Like, this would have won, without a shadow of a doubt. But we've got to follow our own rules, and that's just where we go. So, Malefic wins by a single point. So, congratulations to you, my friend. I think what we'll do, Oasis, we'll put them all in a spreadsheet, and when we get 5 winners, and then I'll contact everybody and I'll see what they need and what they want, and then we'll do prizes that way.
Sounds good. I'm just about to post a new painting competition. If you'd like to quickly just hear it over.
Yeah, go for it.
For this next month, it'll be. You guys won't have just May. You'll have the month afterwards as well to submit. This month's or 2 months will be to make a champion character. You may define it as how you wish. And instead of blood and gore, we'll be doing nature, plants, vegetation, moss, etc. How does that sound to you, North?
That sounds good. In terms of plants and moths, I'd want to do something more vague, just to give them a little bit more leeway. I want to use the word glory. I want a glorious champion. Don't care what he's from, but I need to be seeing the majesty, the glory of it. A bit more vague. So I think it did decide it this time. The blood decided it, and it was it's one of those things where I want it to come down to skill and of the finished model. So I think that's a really good. The champion's a really good one because I'd love to see a single model. We're going to get some really cool in fridge there. We're going to get some really cool stuff. But what I would say is we'll do a. Do you know what? Let's combine the two. So for proximity to theme, is it a champion? Well, of course it's going to be a champion, but I want to see, is it glorious? Is it in a glorious stance? Is it in a heroic stance? Okay, that's what I want, number one. That's for proximity to theme. And for in case of blood and gore, yeah, let's go with a, instead of vegetation, let's do home world. Okay, so whatever that champion comes from, I want their home world to be seen in the model. So if it's a forested world, as Oasis just said, I want plants, I want trees, I want leaves, I want vegetation all the way around them. If it's an ice world, you know, I want like you know see-through glue that's on the floor as like ice. I want caked on snow, things like that, right? Lava world, you get where I'm going, right? That's what we'll do. So just to make it a bit more open-ended, because I think just doing vegetation just disqualifies a load of people who otherwise might have really cool models, and making more work for us, I guess. But you know, whatever. So yeah, very well. Best of luck. And if this is going to be a bi-monthly thing, I think what I will do is I will start giving prizes probably next time, because I don't want to wait until like the winter. So for summer, we'll do prizes, and we are aiming to do a summer get-together somewhere. So at that stage, I will either give it to you in person if you're coming, or if you're not, then I will send it to you if you have something that you want. Okay?
Alrighty, folks. Remember, like, subscribe, leave a comment. Make sure to use that beautiful, beautiful code the North has down there. Gets you an extra 5% off on the existing 20% off, which means you get half of the GW employee money off your main issues.
And if you're wondering where your prizes are going to come from, well, these are the guys you have to thank. So keep giving them the business, and they'll keep supporting the channel. But aside from that, thank you for watching, guys, and I'll speak to you next time. Have a good one.
See you, folks.